Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. And my gosh, it has been such a long time since we did the last Bozja part. I hardly remember. I hardly remember anything. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm sure it'll come back to me as we go. But I'm going to dive right in. Let's have a chat, actually, with our friends. Save the Queen is possessed of a terrible power. Under normal circumstances, I would not hesitate to recommend destroying such a relic. Considering its profound significance to the people of Bozja, however, we decided instead to find a way to seal its powers. I will be consulting the studium in the hopes of expediting our search for a suitable ward. Once we are certain of its safety, it will be returned here, that it may continue to serve as a symbol of hope for the people. That is a matter for another time. Is there something else you wish to discuss? Oh, it was so tragic, wasn't it? It's so tragic. I believe the term is coined after confrontations with the primal Ifrit. Yeah, that's true. Isn't that so interesting how tempering just became the kind of like global, the global term for this kind of primal domination. Yes, their will is supplanted by that of the primal. Oh dear. Feel so bad for the Blades. They're all dead, right? Not a single one of them survived, did they? We had to kill all of them.
The Imperial reinforcements we have dreaded for so long have arrived at last, though it remains to be seen why they yet refuse to strike. If it is true that the 4th Legion has cut ties with Garlemald, this would quite likely be their last attempt to drive us out. Failure is not an option. We must ready our defenses and petition our Far Eastern allies for additional aid if possible. I have no doubt our next battle will decide the fate of Bozja. I will leave you to your preparations unless there is something you wish to discuss.
No, that's good. It's all starting to come back to me now. A new playing field. Finally! Finally.
Blade Asher, we have at last determined the whereabouts of the 4th Legion's remaining installation here in Bozja. Our scouts reported sightings of their forces rallying at Zadnor to the north, which seems to indicate that Castrum Lacus Litor has been abandoned. We deployed our vanguard to advance on the enemy stronghold, but the way is barred by a fleet of warships. Now that Queen Gunhilda no longer poses a threat, Basaushan intends to deploy the troops previously held in reserve. We will be joining them in Zadnor shortly. Our first port of call is Camp Verdeldus.
Oh my goodness.
Our first port of call is Camp Verdeldus. When you are ready, Sieros will escort you there.
Well. Didn't think I'd see you traipsing about here. They told me you've been keeping busy giving the 4th Legion what for on the front lines. I'm sure you're itching to get back, but before you go, you got some interesting news to share. Zlatan, the everyone furry.
One of the surviving members of Gunhilda's Blades has found more crystals on the battlefield, but far different from those we have seen before.
Aye? They ain't formed from the memories of the dying, more like a concentration of raw emotion. And I'd wager me last mug of ale, well, maybe not me last mug, that Gunhilda's Blades would have used crystals just like these to give their weapons more bite. They knew how, that is. Seems like when the last queen unleashed the power of the sword, the prayers of her people are added to their strength. These crystals ain't exactly full of faith, but we're looking to make the resistance weapons stronger. The power of them emotions might just do the trick. From what books I could find, Gunhilda's Blades have the same idea, enhancing their weapons using the power of prayer, but understanding how to unlock the potential to save the Queen proved too much for them. Fascinating. Should we succeed where even the ancient Bozjans failed, we'll have forged the true Blades of Gunhilda as they were meant to be. Aye, you could say that. Of course, I'd rather we keep calling them resistance weapons. Whatever we choose to name them, it certainly is an exciting prospect. You shall have the support of the House of Splendors and any resources that might prove useful to your work.
The cooperation of the House is greatly appreciated, but I assume this is not an act of charity.
Well, we are a business after all, but surely any price we ask is a pittance if it means a glorious new standard for your countrymen to rally behind.
Yes, such splendorous weapons would more than serve as a beacon of hope for our people's future once the Imperials are driven out of Bozja.
And that's why we're giving them all to an Eorzean, right? No? Just me? More importantly, the contract with the House of Splendors will be fulfilled, assuming as we can get hold of everything we need. That being an alloy which can handle higher concentrations of ether, an potent reagent to bind ethereal energies to the weapon, and a means of committing the power of emotions to it. Rather a tall order, but I'm certain that the House of Splendors can provide. I will have my associates look through our inventories and bring the necessary resources to Gangus. Naturally, the House will expect something in return, most likely goods of equivalent value.
And what part will you play in the proceedings, if I may ask?
Oh, I plan to have the Ironworks make adjustments to the Allergan node in order to more precisely tailor the completed weapons to their future wielders. After all, such attention to detail will increase their value exponentially. And one last thing. I will be instructing my colleagues to deliver the requested materials in bulk. When they should have to travel so far, I intend to make it worth their time.
I suppose that is fair, and we will certainly have need to forge more weapons when new members of Gunhilda's Blades are appointed.
Thank you for understanding. Now, without any further ado, I shall begin my preparations.
For the time being, that leaves us to ponder upon the not-so-simple matter of the goods the house will demand as payment.
And they all look at me. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Well, you don't have to help us if you don't want to. Although, from what I gather, most adventurers find the allure of a shiny new weapon hard to resist. Does that sound accurate?
So manipulative. Now all I need to do is wait for my moments. That was a bit sus, wasn't it? Alright, Sieros. Let's go. Take me to Zadnor, baby. I'm so ready. What do you mean question mark, question mark, question mark? We're still in Bozja. We're still in Ilzabad. It's not a mystery. I gotta tell you, this area looks a lot more interesting than than the southern front, doesn't it? Oh, is that? No, that's east, so that couldn't be it. I was about to say, is that supposed to be the plateau where Castrum was? Oh man. Oh, there's a riding map in here. Ooh, is there a riding map for the southern front?
Thank you for coming. I understand this is your first time in Zadnor, yes? Even before the 4th Legion relocated here from Castrum Lacus Litor, it was hardly the most hospitable of places. To see it now, one can scarcely believe it was once a rich and fertile land. Sadly, it was not spared the ravages of the 4th Umbro calamity.
Well, yes, Bozja, but, you know, neither was anywhere else, and it seems like this place hasn't recovered. Are you saying that this was all done by the 4th calamity and it's still like this?
In the wake of the disaster, this plateau became rich in earth-aspected crystals, Miners were keen to seize the opportunity, and they quickly exhausted the supply of this valuable resource.
Ah,
As the settlers had no other reason to continue living in such harsh environments, the region eventually became uninhabited. Until the Imperials decided to establish an outpost here, that is. Just when we thought ourselves prepared for their next assaults, they usher in a new fleet of ships, from Damascus led by the Dar Riada. It has yet to move since dropping anchor. There is no denying the strategical advantage of their present location, but we are not yet convinced it is fit to serve as a new base of operations. Regardless, rather than speculate over the Imperial schemes, we must take decisive action. Now is the time to deliver the final blow to the 4th Legion. If we are to succeed, we will first need to deal with the warships stymieing our attempts to advance.
well, it's a good thing you have us to help with that.
Hey! It's your boy!
See those floating rock formations? One might think them a result of the 4th Umbral Calamity, but they were actually caused by the Bozja incidents. Okay, that's what I was suspecting. When Dalamud struck the citadel, vast quantities of energy permeated the site, likely carried to every corner of Bozja via ether currents. Certain regions were affected more severely than others, and, well, results are self-explanatory. Thankfully, we've managed to tap into that energy to erect a barrier to protect from aerial strikes, much like Saryu's wall. Clever. I was about to say, they're awfully exposed here, aren't they? Ooh. Hell yeah.
As you can see, the barrier only extends to the boundaries of this encampment, but it should keep us safe for the time being. Words can ill express my gratitude to Sid for all he has done for us.
That was awfully nice of the Imperials to demonstrate that for us, wasn't it? Just as Sid was explaining it. I can't take all the credit. That wouldn't have been possible without the equipment supplied to us by the Dalmascan resistance. What's more, the idea to use the land's residual energy came from Lilia, one of my newest engineers. So you see, it was a collaborative effort. But as you said, the barrier can only cover so much ground. If the Dalriada decides to do more than loom ominously in the distance, our troops on the front line won't stand a chance.
If only it were a matter of combating their fleet with one of our own. As things stand, the Eastern Alliance is in no position to lend us any of their ships, and the Bozjans next to none in the first place. We may not have a fleet, but we do have an abundance of residual ether at our disposal. If only there was someone who could help us, perhaps a world-class engineer and master of innovation or some such.
And pray tell, where might we find one of those? Oh, where's Nero? Is he standing behind me? Is Nero here? No, Bawagi's not a Khajiit, he's a Argonian. Right? Yes, point taken. After all, I can't have newcomers like you stealing my thunder. I'll see if I can turn that idea of yours into a workable solution. Still waiting to meet Mikoto's sister. She's got to factor in somewhere, right?
We would be lost without the aid of Garland Ironworks and the Eastern Alliance. Their goodwill must be repaid with not less than victory.
By the sounds of it, the Ironworks solution to protecting the Resistance outpost is not without its difficulties. It's that I have every confidence they will find a solution. And what do you think, Lilia? What do you got?
Now that you're here, we have a favor to ask of you. I volunteered to do it myself, but a certain someone insisted I stay put.
Your enthusiasm is appreciated, but I'd rather go myself than put any of my workers in harm's way. Besides, this is no job for an engineer. Long story short, the Resistance means to advance on the enemy position, and to do that, they'll need protection. We aim to erect additional barriers at each outpost they establish along the route to the 4th Legion's base of operations. The trouble is, the residual ether alone may not be enough. We plan to divert the currents further afield.
Although the theory is sound enough, we haven't had a chance to put it into practice.
This is where we were hoping you might be able to help. We need you to take this prototype device and activate it at a specific location. Another day in the life of Ozzy's errand boy. No! A location would be in the middle of the battlefield, correct? I know what I signed up for. Why, however did you guess? As before, you only need to set the device in place, and we can handle the rest.
While the technology involved differs somewhat, in terms of what you actually have to do, it is more or less the same as the task you performed on the Southern Front.
Oh, how convenient.
Think of it as redirecting the streams of ether with a dam. And to that purpose, allow me to introduce our newly patented defluction ether manipulator, or DAM for short.
It looks exactly the same. It's another coffee pot. Yes, well, questionable naming aside, I can vouch for its workmanship. And all that remains is to put it through its paces.
While I'm loath to ask you to bear this burden, our greatest chance of success lies with you.
Okay.
While you make your preparations, we shall attempt to locate a suitable current.
As for me, I'd best get back to the workshop. I'll see if there's aught that can be done about the Dariada. Ooh. Still something going on there, eh? What are you grinning at? Yeah. That shit-eating grin.
If you have finished your discussion, might I suggest also speaking with our Secretariat? There's a wealth of information concerning Zadnor, which I am sure will serve you well.
I would love to. Sounds great.
Once you set foot beyond the Ironworks Sparrow, you'll face not only Imperial troops, but aerial assaults. Until we find a way to contend with their warships, I beg of you, be careful.
Oh shit, there's just gonna be like random AoE shells? That's cool. Alright. So what do we actually have to do now? I'm a little bit confused. I think we just need to level up a little bit before it unlocks the next one, right? So I get the impression that this is like very nearly a AV burn. Ooh. Look at this guy. Look at this heckin' guy. That's a new model right there, isn't it? Wow. Wowee. It's like the Allegan Clockwork soldiers. Come here. Come here. Wanna fight you? Oh, he's cool. He's got like teeth and... He's kind of scary. He's like got a... It's like a pirate hat, isn't he? He looks like a corsair or something. I like that a lot. Oh man. That's really cool. I'm into it. It's got like one of those nutcracker things at the back as well. It needs teeth so it can crack its commanding officer's nuts. And that's not a euphemism, alright? I mean that in a literal sense. It had like a little nutcracker lever at the back of it. Yeah, look at this. You can see it's in that like transitional phase, right? The ether here is just no good, no bueno. So it's been massively over aspected to Earth, they said. But then people were mining a bunch of Earth crystals. And I think they said that like made it worse. That wouldn't like make it balance further towards Earth, but I imagine it's like, okay, the only ether it had left in it was Earth ether, and then they started mining that out and carrying it away. So now, not only is it like massively polarized to Earth, there's actually not that much Earth ether left in the land either. Sorry to have kept you waiting, Ethers. We finally found a suitable location for the Ironworks device.
And you'll be pleased to hear the dams are ready to go. Some of our finest work yet, if I do say so myself.
Okay.
Once in place, Bastalken has asked we redirect the ether currents to the newly secured outpost. I will mark on your map the location where the device must be set. When you're finished, contact us via this link pearl, and we shall handle the rest.
What, like I don't already have a link pearl?
I shall pray for your safe return, Ethers.
I'll have to check that out. Welcome back. The dams appear to be working as planned, though it will take some time for the diversion of ether current to be complete. We will continue to monitor the situation from here. Should the dams be in need of fine-tuning, however, we may need to call on you again.
Sensors indicate faint traces of ether drifting towards the designated location, and the energy signature is growing stronger. Before long, we'll have made a brand new current leading straight to the outpost.
Yes. Uh-oh. Was waiting for this. Yeah, here it is. Come on, the one time that being a Dragoon could have some narrative function.
Mikoto, it's another vision, isn't it? And you saw it too, didn't you? What is it? What did you see?
It's nothing, Lilia, really. Just a dizzy spell is all. I'll be fine after a short rest.
Mikoto, there's no need to put on a brave face. You said before these visions of yours can't be changed, but doesn't mean we can't help.
That's very kind of you, Lilia. I promise you I'm fine. For now, let's all concentrate on the task at hand. You can't just give her a parachute. Yeah, jeez.
All right. If you ever need to talk, I'll be right here.
I understand your concern, truly, but even if we were to tell the others, there is nothing they can do to change what we saw. No battle is won without sacrifice, and I have made peace with what is to come. I imagine Moonbreeder was very much the same in her last moments. She never turned her eyes from the truth, the inevitable, no matter how harsh it may be. It is a quality you both share, and one I strive to emulate. Come now, Ethis. Let's not assume the worst. After all, we know naught of what happens before or after that brief glimpse into the future. Yes, there are paratroopers in Gimlet, so parachutes are a thing. Yes. Alright, what's next? Thanks again for your help with the dam. Once the new outpost is secure, you can be certain we'll get to work right away on erecting a barrier. In the meantime, perhaps you'd be willing to share what you and Mikoto saw? On second thought, forget I said anything. Like she said, it's all fine. Let's get back to it, eh? Speaking of getting to work, I think Basharshan was asking after you. Probably wants to talk strategy before their next mission. Blade Asher, thank you for coming. I wish to speak with you about Missia. Oh no, poor Missia. Oh, she was such a good character. Is such a good character, I should say. As you may recall, it was my intention to have her stand trial once the 4th Legion was routed and Bozja's lands made secure. But there are those who demand we make an example of her, and the cries for her execution grow louder by the day. It is my belief that we must first establish a rule of law, where those convicted of crimes may be given due process. In the case of Imperial captives, an exchange of prisoners should be considered a viable alternative. I do not deny that the crimes she has committed are grave indeed. Yet the fact remains, Missia was a soldier, working under the orders of Gabranth and the 4th Legion. I'm hesitant to carry out so harsh a judgment when it is her superiors who should be held accountable. But such is the nature of war. Soldiers forced to perform terrible, terrible deeds at the behest of a select few. As commander, I know all too well the weight my orders carry. The day may come that I am made to answer for the acts committed in my name. But today, it is Missia who stands accused. Gabranth has yet to be brought before us, and the people demand justice be served, one way or another. Oh, jeez, they actually give you an option. Holy crap. The blame lies with Menenius and Gabranth. Yeah. I mean, you know, she is obviously guilty of heinous things, but Ethis don't support a death penalty. None of that. When the time comes, I will keep your words in mind. Thank you, Blade Asher. So long as the 4th Legion controls the skies, it will be no easy task to advance on their position. That said, I am quite confident its plan will offer us the protection we need to push the front line forward. Is there something you wish to discuss? Yeah, you know what? Tell me about Zadnor. Zadnor, yes, the sinking plateau in our mother tongue. It lies to the northeast of the southern front, not far from the territories of Dalmasca. Oh. A gentle rolling plain once upon a time, until the 4th Umbro calamity, that is. The great quake would mold the landscape into the various flat-top mountains we now know as Zadnor. The land was also enriched with a vast store of Earth-aspected crystals. When first discovered, miners and prospectors wasted no time in establishing a bustling mining industry. Unfortunately, those reserves of earth crystals would not last. The mines ran dry some 100 years ago. All that remains now is barren wasteland. It is worth noting, however, the floating rock formations are not the result of the calamity, but the Bozja incident. The energies that wiped the citadel off the map were absorbed into the ground, causing portions of it to rise up into the sky. What's more, this upheaval of the land has exposed a number of elegant ruins. The gods only know what the 4th Legion intends to find within them. Oh, that was elegant ruins I was looking at. So I saw some debris like down in one of those valleys, and I was like, that's got to be like a downed gunship or something, but gee, that looks elegant. Veritableness. I'm never going to get this. Veritableness was originally a small settlement founded by miners come to seek their fortune. Who would have thought it might also serve as shelter in our search for freedom? It was so named for the flowers that once bloomed in abundance in the lands. Sadly, they would never grow again after the Bozja incident. The energies that permeated the land in the wake of Bahamut's assault on the citadel irrevocably altered the land's ether currents, resulting in a nigh uninhabitable environment. We chose this location to make use of the ether currents that flows below it, but it is, as Lilia might put it, sporadic at best. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So it is a sort of like halfway towards the burn. It has served our purposes well enough for now, but I suspect securing additional outposts closer to the enemy will prove difficult. Without sufficient stores of ambient ether in the ground, we cannot erect an etherite, nor can we protect the surrounding area with one of Sid's barriers. Okay. Ah, new reinforcements, yes. Tell me about the Dariada, Malzak.
Ah, yes, the Dariada. It is without question the greatest weapon in Gabrant's arsenal. That he would choose to deploy it shows that he has grown desperate to make control of Bozja. It has not moved an ilm since arriving, fired nary a shot. I suspect Menenius is commanding his troops from aboard the warship. For the more reason we must bring it down. According to Boagi, it was a fleet of warships led by the Dariada that brought these resistance factions in Rabanastre to a standstill after Doma gained its freedom.
Okay.
Ground units managed to disable the barrier protecting the city, and the bombardment that followed razed the city to the ground in minutes. That a ship possessors of such power would choose not to engage us deeply concerns me. Cannot help but wonder what might occupy its attention if not us. I have no way of knowing for certain, but if it should be that the warship is not able to take action against us, then it would mean now is the time to strike. Certainly a most unexpected and formidable addition to the 4th Legion's forces. The cavalry are a rather unsettling innovation of Magitech technology.
Yeah, here we go.
They appear to be half man and half horse, but are in truth automated weapons requiring no pilot.
Oh, I don't think I've seen them yet.
I can scarcely imagine what manner of mechanisms might produce such a monstrosity. I'd be lying if I said their appearance was not at all unnerving. It is one thing to encounter death claws on the field, but an entity reminiscent of the dark divinity is a wholly different affair.
Now, how interesting that Malzak is familiar with Odin.
Though I suppose the lack of a pilot means one need not show restraint when facing them in the field. By the same token, however, the 4th Legion cavalry knows no fear, nor do they grow tired, making them all the more dangerous. That is not to say the 4th Legion zealots are to be underestimated, of course. From what we can gather, they are a band of heretics who were exiled from Dalmasca prior to the Gallians' invasion.
Oh.
For a time, they were scattered across a number of countries, but eventually consolidated under the banner of the 4th Legion when Gabrant offered them asylum.
Oh. Well now.
The reason for their exile lies with their faith. You see, they belong to an obscure faction of the priesthood of St. Locus that worships the High Seraph Ultima, in accordance with the scriptures of Jean-Monique. Their belief were deemed heresy, and so they were cast out. They are practitioners of the most profane magics, and are not above sacrificing their own in ritual summonings. To do so, they employ relics allegedly bequeathed to them by the Eye Seraph herself. Regardless of whence they came, there is no denying their power. Contend with the 4th Legion zealots, and you will inevitably come to face to face with their demon spawn, the Lucav.
Wow, I was definitely not expecting to learn more Ultima lore. Although I suppose I should have been expecting to learn more Ultima lore, but I was not. These guys... I wonder if these guys are supposed to be Nagshan. I think so, right? Alright, Lilia.
Why did Pharaoh brawl? Was it something Basalshan said? Sorry, I shouldn't pry. I'll get back to work.
Look like they might be under Hakuro? Yeah, maybe, huh? Maybe. I have been for a long time working on a video on Ultima and the history of Ivalice in Final Fantasy XIV. But I decided that I should probably wait until I'm done with Zadnor just because, you know, of who's writing it. There was a pretty good chance that we were going to learn a couple of extra tidbits. And I wanted it to be future-proofed, you know? I didn't want to publish it until we were kind of all done with that stuff as much as possible anyway. So when I'm done with Zadnor, I'll get rolling on that again. Yes. The video you're excited for is the video that I'm excited for. The video I'm extremely excited for.
Alright, Dimitar. Dimitar has glad tidings to share from the battlefield. Good to see he's still alive. Late Asher, it is good to see you. As always, news of your contributions to the Resistance precedes you. We've just received word that the barrier of our new outpost is complete. At last, our front line can finally move forward, an unattainable feat without your assistance and that of the Ironworks. If you're ready, I've been asked to escort you to our newest encampment. I would also strongly advise you to attune to the Aetherite here if you have yet to do so. Now, now he tells us, right, 3 levels later. Now, if you follow me, the camp is due west of here.
Wouldn't it be nice if he didn't actually escort us, you know? If he pulled out like a lunar whale and just let it... No, that'd be a bit much, wouldn't it? Ooh. Here we go, field notes on Oboro. Wait, is Oboro here? Is Oboro here? I don't know why they didn't even like... Oh my goodness, he's here! Wow! As Shinobi of Doma, Oboro is among the contingent sent by the Eastern Alliance to aid in the battle against the 4th Legion. Oh, finally! Though his homeland was already under the Imperial yoke at the time of his birth, Oboro was raised in a secluded village where he was instructed in the art of ninjutsu by his master Gekai. Blessed with equal measures of innate talent and dogged determination, he quickly rose to the ranks and was awarded the title of Jonin, given only to the most skilled shinobi. When Lord Cayenne led his rebellion, Oboro proudly fought at his side. After a hard-fought battle, they succeeded in taking back Doma Castle, and it seemed for a fleeting moment that Doma's liberation had been won. Victory, however, proved as ephemeral as bubbles in the sea, owing in part to the machinations of fellow shinobi who had already defected to the Empire, providing with vital intelligence from the shadows. Before long, Xenos' 12th Legion was upon them, and Lord Cayenne's revolt mercilessly crushed. Oboro survived the battle, and upon returning home was tasked with a new mission by the village elders. He was to make for Eorzea and pursue the traitor who had betrayed his homeland. So it was that Oboro came to practice the arts of the shinobi in a new land, ready to return at a moment's notice should his homeland require his skills. And return he did when Hien, son of Cayenne, led his own revolt, playing a vital role in the infiltration of the Dairyu Moongates. Yeah, you do see him very, very briefly in the Stormblood MSQ, which was cool. This time, Oboro had been summoned by Lord Hien once more to provide invaluable support to the Bozjan resistance as a key member of the Eastern Alliance. Obro is a serious-minded youth with a strong sense of justice, so serious in fact that he often comes off as rigid and inflexible. At the same time, he is passionate about defending others, would sooner throw his own life away than put others in danger, an almost reckless courage that has won him no small number of admirers among his fellow shinobi. This all-consuming devotion to his duty, however, has left Oboro less adept at dealing with interpersonal relationships and everyday affairs. Though he is of more than marriageable age, he appears completely at a loss as to what steps might be required to go about finding a woman to take as his bride. Okay. Yeah, okay, interesting. The following is a sworn testimony of a shinobi who insists on anonymity but has accompanied Oboro on multiple forays to Eorzea. Oh, we know who this is. The elders have often suggested that it would be easiest if Oboro simply allowed a matchmaker to set him up with a suitable bride. As Jonin, needless to say, tradition dictates that he is bound by duty to father children and raise them to be great shinobi in their own right, a duty which Oboro has no intention of neglecting, and yet it would seem that his exposure to Eorzean customs and lifestyles has colored his thinking somewhat, and recently he has expressed feelings of a certain yearning to experience romantic love. You did not hear this from me, of course, but I have even seen him toting around a book on how to woo the fair sex. Oh god. Whether he acquired it from his own device and received his gift from a certain roguish acquaintance of his, oh, I wonder who that would be. I cannot say with certainty. Oh god. Oh no. I'm embarrassed for Oboro now. Oh dear. So, I know I've said it a million times, but I want notes like that from everyone, from everywhere, from everything. Like, all through the game, all through the MSQ, through every zone, I want to be able to collect them like we collect triple triad cards. I want books that I can put in my shelf, in my player housing, like you can in the Elder Scrolls games. That's what I want. Finally. And not just like dossiers on characters, but like, you know, short stories and poetry and you know, like cultural works, right? It'd be so good. Anyway, I'll keep nagging Koji for it till we get it.
You'll find all the essential facilities are in place, including an aetheryte for ease of travel.
Oh, excuse me.
Bozja intends to seize yet another outpost as we continue to push the front line forward. Of course, this will likely require more work securing ether currents to power yet another protective barrier. Even so, with you here to aid us, I have faith the resistance will prevail in the end.
I hope you're right, Dimitar. Okay, rank 20. Yeah, so that's what I want. Super tick. This is pretty. This is really pretty, actually. We're getting just a little bit more variety than we did in the Southern Front, aren't we? Someone really needs to hire me to do an audiobook. Oh, I wish they would. I wish they would, though. I would love to record an audiobook. That would make me so happy. You'd love an audiobook of me doing Encyclopedia Eorzea? I would love to do that. That would be delightful. Some people have asked me, right, why I don't just like do some YouTube content of just like reading through the encyclopedia chapter by chapter, but I'm pretty sure I get a cease and desist if I tried to do that. Actually, a guy on YouTube working on an audiobook version of Encyclopedia Eorzea. Yeah, well, I guarantee that if he picks up some attention, he'll end up getting a cease and desist from Square Enix for that, because that is no good without express permission. Still, good luck to him, I suppose. But I certainly would not do so without express permission. Oh no! I'm gonna miss it! An eldritch horror from a time long past! Oh, this is the 14th Legion's got a bloody Brontosaurus. Alright, okay then. Seems good. Is that gonna get me gold? That might get me gold. Urban the Terrible. No. Not even close. Oh my goodness. That just gave me like terrifying diadem flashbacks there for a second, I'm gonna be honest. I just had a moment of like pure anxiety seeing that meteor. There we go. Sorry, Pagaga. Sorry. See you next time. Oh, I really hope we don't kill her. That was precious. I will get her lore eventually. It is Pazuzu. What the heck? This naked Pazuzu. Imperial Mage detachments call down Hanbi, the bringer of ruin, to expand the resistance to the platinums of Zadnor. The other level being demands tribute of blood, so it's insatiable. Wow. How about that? Oh, we got some more field notes on Lofi. Nice, nice. 1 minute left to complete the Zadnor. Well, we're definitely not going to be able to watch this critical engagement, unfortunately. So we'd best go re-instance Lofi. Former member of the 4th Legion's Mage Detachment, Lofi made the momentous decision to desert the Imperial Army, fending off the relentless pursuit of her former compatriots, successfully fleeing to the Bozja and southern front together with a Monoceros, fearsome yet pitiable creature she had previously been forced to subject to cruel, inhumane experimentation. Upon learning of the 4th cast from Lacus Litor, Lofi surrendered herself to the Bozjan resistance, partly out of an odd sense of gratitude to her former foes for the mercy they'd shown her on the battlefield, and even more so because she realized that she and her basic companion had no one else to turn. Lofi offered her captors a proposition. She would reveal to them every last bit of knowledge she possessed about the 4th Legion. In return, she asked only that her animal friend be returned to its far-off mountain to live out its life in peace. As for herself, she would accept any sentence, even death. Moved by the girl's earnest plea and grim determination, Shalshan took her in, not as a prisoner of war, but one of the resistance own. Oh. Help us win our freedom, he offered. You may see your friend safely home yourself. Lofi accepted these terms willingly, for in truth she had unfinished business on the battlefield. She could not rest easy until she had freed all the other miserable beasts left trapped at the 4th Legion's research facility and personally ended the life of its overseer, Fabano the Heedless. For only in doing so would his cruel and twisted experiments be brought to a merciful end. Will you fight with me, my friends? Lofi spoke gently to her imposing companion. There's not too much to ask of you, that is. Shalshan swore a vow to the girl that no matter what became of her, he would see her beloved beast return to its rightful home when the battle was won. Lofi thanked him, then pondered for a moment whether or not in leading the Monoceros into the fray, she was no better than Fabano himself. Suddenly feeling great shame, she patted the beast gently on the nose and tried to set off the battlefield alone, only to find the Monoceros following dutifully behind her. Though the creature no doubt cared little who emerged victorious in wars fought by men, it did know one thing. It wanted to stand aside and protect the one person in the world that had shown it kindness and mercy. Oh my goodness. Oh my heart. That's nice. Alright, Mikoto, what do we got? The Resistance is preparing to secure a new outpost. After an analysis of the area, however, I regret to say there is nowhere near enough residual ether to power the barrier. To make matters worse, its rather awkward location requires us to redirect multiple currents to sustain a sufficient flow of energy. That's where these two beauties come in. The deflection ether manipulators, Mark 2 and Mark 3. What sets them apart from the first model, you ask? Well, apart from the name, not a lot, but they are newer, if that counts for anything. Okay, Lilia, whatever you say. Though we both wish we could go with you, I fear we would only slow you down. Please, be safe out there. You have reached the designated location, yes? Readying transmission protocols? So far, so good. Has the dam burrowed into the ground? Excellent. Proceed to the next site and stay vigilant. There's no telling when you may encounter Imperial forces.
What could it be? Oh, what a surprise! I feel like they need to stop putting those visual markers when they want something to surprise us. You know? I feel like sometimes it'd be healthy for us just to be ambushed.
Imperials? They didn't get the better of you, did they? No, I suppose you wouldn't be contacting me if they did. I really must learn not to jump to conclusions. The dam appears to be fully operational. How are things there? Excellent. Return to the outpost and we shall handle the rest. Welcome back. Our sensors detect steady streams of ether flowing toward the site of the new outpost. Now it's up to the Resistance to drive away the Imperials. Once they have, a substantial confluence of energy should be available to power a new barrier. Well, everything seems to be under control here, so I'd better get going.
You what?
Oh, right. Mikoto's gathered some promising data to help the chief deal with the Dariada.
It pertains to my findings on the inner workings of the crystal foci. I believe it may be of use to him. The chief said he'd be heading back to Doma after finishing maintenance on Serious Wall. Rather than drag him all the way back here, it seems quicker if I take the data to him to him myself. Don't worry, I'll be back before you know it. Before I go, Mikoto, is there anything else you'd like me to pass on to Sid?
Oh. Ooh.
It's not good to keep your emotions bottled up like that, you know.
Why not? Why don't you tell him how you feel?
Lilia, that is wholly and utterly unprofessional. I would never, he would never, and even if we did, this is neither the time nor the place to discuss such matters. I think it is. I've seen far too many people live to regret words left unspoken. Just think on it, will you? And try not to miss me while I'm away.
Oh my goodness.
Is there any chance you could forget that entire conversation?
I don't know, what's it worth to you?
I was only joking. But thank you for trying. To tell the truth, since entering the studium, my life has had but one singular purpose, pursuit of knowledge. Yet for all my research and scholarly works, I never learned what it truly means to live. At least, that is what Moonbreeder would tell me. She would often admonish me, always insisting I spend time with the other students, at the very least step away from my dusty tomes for some fresh air. Perhaps she hoped I might find someone I cherished more than my books, though sadly she never had the chance to see it. Sid is truly a remarkable man, and I'll not deny our shared interest in the sciences. During the short time we've worked together, we've become good friends. And as his friend, I understand the great burdens of his mind. Even now, he struggles to break free from his ties to the Empire and his father's terrible legacy. Which is why I wish to do all within my power to support him. As a friend, mind you. My feelings towards Sid are similar to those I felt for Moonbreeder. Respect and admiration. As much as I hate to disappoint Lilia, that is the way of things. So please, don't read too deeply into it.
What it did? Master Geralt, what are you doing here?
better question me what you're doing here. Should you be paying the visit to Sid and Doma? Or should be you paying the visit to Sid and Doma? Nothing to be embarrassed about, lass. All romances have to start somewhere, and I agree the two of you make a good match. But you need to act quick. Even I can see the man's a fine glass of ale, and I reckon it won't be long before some pretty thing snatches him up and takes a swig.
Get him. Get him. That's perfect. Da, 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 da. Meanwhile, the Legion of Doom.
Ooh, what was that now?
Man, Menenius' armor is so cool. Wait. New axe.
Well, is it ready?
The modifications will require more time.
You can't be serious. It's been ages since the damn thing was excavated. Have the engineers been sitting around with their thumbs up their asses all this time?
Far from it. Given that this is unexplored territory, we must proceed with caution.
Tell that to the resistance soldiers a stone's throw from our bloody front door. Won't be long before they tear it down. Why not withdraw to Dalmasca? Surely they can finish their modifications on the way back.
Withdraw? You would abandon everything we have labored for here in Bozja? And that is not all we stand to lose. Surely you have not forgotten the events of Custom Meridian?
I only know what I've heard. That Gaius' pet ended up biting the hand that fed it before turning the place upside down.
Not quite the wording used in the report, but accurate enough. Knowing his plans would soon be thwarted, he deployed an anti-Icon war machina in a final attempt to drive back the Eosian forces. He could not contain its power, and because of his hubris, the castrum was wiped off the map. In short, the relics of the Alligans are not to be trifled with. It takes but one mistake for our plans to fall to ruin.
Oh, so that's why Zadnor. And yet Sicinius has seen fit to scurry off to some far-flung hole when he's needed most. This was his scheme, not ours. He should be the one overseeing all this.
Perhaps you should put this pent-up frustration of yours to use outside. After all, in light of Messia's recent failure, it now falls to us to right the resistance.
Really? You're asking me to go out there? It's about damn time.
Somehow I knew you would relish the opportunity to get your hands dirty.
Oh, I assure you they'll be absolutely filthy by the time I return.
Interesting. It seems the Resistance already has their sights set on another potential outpost site. I can only hope they secure the location without heavy losses. Yeah, Leon and Menenius are... excuse me. Leon and Menenius are very interesting characters. Well, everyone on YouTube, guys, I'm going to pick this up again in a couple of days and finish up these last couple of quests. I think we get rank 25 and then we do the Dalriada, and I think that pretty much wraps it up, doesn't it? So we should be able to do that in the next session. But thank you very much for watching, as always. Leave any thoughts, comments you might have below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow us over here on Twitch if you haven't already, actually, if you want to catch these live. But it's wonderful having you all hanging out, and I hope you guys have an excellent rest of your week. Until next time, take care, my friends. Be good. Goodbye.